G'day, everyone, and welcome to the crossover. It is our last regular episode of the crossover because this is the last week of the regular NBA season, which means fantasy seasons will come to an end at the week 24 marker. So we are done, but there are some tips and tricks to help you win your league if you are still going into these very long days of the short week. And look, I am flying solo for now, but Matrix could make a bit of a cameo in this episode. He could. He's on a Bucks weekend on the Gold Coast, so we don't know what chaos could unfold. We'll find out right up after this.
Welcome to the Ultimate Super Coach and Fantasy Sports Show. You are now listening to the Insight Fantasy Sports Podcast.
And if you've made it this far in your fantasy season, congratulations and well done. It is week 24, so you also could be in the final week of your playoffs in the second week. So I know some leagues that play 2 weeks for their semis and then 2 weeks for their finals, which would bring you, especially in ESPN leagues, to this being your last week to manage. And it is a bit of a humdinger, as I like to say, because it is only a 5-day week. Thanks to the NCAA tournament, we have 2 days of no games. So we need to be somewhat scrupulous with our ads, the way that it shakes out as well. Or we could just go merry hell and dump guys left, right, and center after they played a game. And this is where can't cut lists come into play, because you might want to drop off a guy at one of your first picks of the season. You wouldn't do it accidentally during the regular course of the season. But you know what? You've got 2 cram days in here where every team in the NBA plays. So that doesn't really happen anyway. But maybe they're injured. Maybe you have to drop them of their last game and then get a fill-in game somewhere for the last day. So you need to maybe messaging your commissioner, but also be asking your commissioner, Commish, please let me finish in week 21. Can we all just finish in week 21? Go back 3 weeks in time, the injuries, the rest, all these kind of machinations of the end of the fantasy season that can ruin some. Kawhi Leonard, our mate Brano, he's had Kawhi Leonard and Shea out this week. Now, they can be injured. Yes, injuries can happen at any point of the season. But teams, especially those in huge playoff contention, like the Thunder and the Clippers, are going to play it really, really easy with guys like this, franchise guys, because they don't want them to go to waste and just be buggered around and then it all goes 6 ways to Sunday sideways. They want to win a championship. They want to make deep playoff runs. And the only way to do that is to have their stars healthy. So all these kind of resting games and guys just missing out like Giannis and Dame this week, we'll talk about them very soon, because the Bucks are an interesting play because the Bucks have locked up second. But there's a lot of wild action in the West. There's a lot of wild action in the East as well after today's games. And it also happens to which teams play 4 games and which teams play 3 games down this final stretch of the week. Now, that's going to come into your play. There's only a few that don't do this anyway. So let's break down the schedule and have a look a bit at our weekly preview.
He's heating up.
Yeah, look, this one is interesting because what we've got going on here is we've got 2 days of no games. So as you can see here, we've got no games on Monday and no games on Saturday. So we're all building up to the NCAA tournament, which absolutely gives us some cracking days of NBA action. They are jammed absolutely tightly in there with the amount of action that's going on. And you can see this on Tuesday with 14 games, Friday with 15, and Sunday with 15 games. Now, what that means for you straight away is that every single team in the NBA is going to be playing on Friday and Saturday. Now, with the Friday and Sunday, with the Saturday being a marker day where they're not going to be playing at all, what team and what superstars could be rested on your last day of NBA action? If you are playing within the season, this is where that can't cut list or paying attention to the waiver wire save a couple of ads. Just save a couple. The best advice I can give you here, where's a bit of a hot I should play the hot tip thing. This is one of them. Hot. I can tell you the hot tip is this: save a couple of ads, because with 30 teams of NBA, with 30 teams playing, there's going to be some guys rested on the last day of regular season, And if it's close, if your season hangs in the balance, and you've got a couple of stars there, a couple of like maybe a Charlotte Miles Bridges or Brandon Miller doesn't play last game of the season, bugging them, they're done even. You want to be paying attention and just scraping whatever waiver wire targets you can get on those last couple of days. If you hear the last couple of games, oh, we're going to shut down Jason Tatum just for a couple of games. He needs some rest before the playoffs. The Celtics can do that. They've locked it up. Jaylen Brown. We've seen the Celtics be very conscious of this of late, especially with the record that they hold in the Eastern Conference. So we've just got to be mindful of this going through the week. But again, especially when it pulls to the end of our week, where we do have a 15-game day, no games, and then 15 games on Sunday. You could find that one of your players is out from Thursday, not playing Friday or Saturday, and they're rested for the playoffs. So we want to keep our ears out. We want to keep our eyes on whatever Twitter feeds and whoever we're getting our injury report scoops from, and just make sure we're bringing those players in. And it's really interesting this week as well when we break down our ads and our guys we have now. Every team this week plays 4 games except for a few. So if you're looking to maximize your games on these games, you can avoid these teams for a start. You've got the Brooklyn Nets, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Indiana Pacers, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Philadelphia 76ers, and the Washington Wizards. So Nets guys like Dennis Schroeder, people have been bringing in, Cavs, Niang, Strus, Karis LeVert, who's been starting and been picked up in so many leagues now. Pacers, what's going on with Miles Turner? Will he play? Will he rest for the playoffs maybe with that injury that's been a little bit niggling since he came back? Maybe Jalen Smith gets some more minutes. Maybe. I don't think we'll see a lot of AD or LeBron resting. After today, the Western Conference is absolutely crazy. Now, they are in an equal 8th. Now, this is the thing with them. Of all of the teams locked into the Western Conference final playoff race and the seeding race, the only team that's there is the Los Angeles Lakers with 3 games. That means all the other ones, we're talking the Phoenix Suns, the Pels, the Kings, and the Warriors all play 4 games this week. Which means for this to continue, the Lakers have won 4 in a row. If they need to win all 3 of these, and the Suns need to lose 2, no, they don't. They need to lose 3 for them to make possibly 6th. They've climbed to 8, so they're locked in that 7-8 playoff right now. Where does this go? Interesting news out of New Orleans that Brandon Ingram has been cleared for light contact work. He's going to miss the next 2 games at least, but he's looking to be back later in the week to finish off the regular season. So that's good news for the New Orleans Pelicans. Makes them a little bit more scarier, but I do like what we've said. Let's be honest. New Orleans have lost 4 on the trot right now. They haven't been looking too bloody crash hot at all. But this is, again, an interesting one for streaming-wise. We're not going to get anyone rested, but again, guys like Rui Hachimura who are long gone. This brings us to the back-to-backs as well. Like, whereabouts can we get these back-to-backs? Well, obviously, there's no back-to-backs from Monday to Tuesday, so we can write those off straight away because there are no games on Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday, though, with those huge amount of 14-game action and then to the lighter game on Tuesday. So we can look to that lower volume day there for the Tuesday and the Wednesday. Are the Hawks, the Hornets, the Mavs, the Nugs, the Clippers, the Grizzlies, the Miami Heat, the Milwaukee Bucks, the T-Wolves, the Thunder, the Magic, the Suns, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Raps. Another question. Do we see Victor Wembanyama roll out for the rest of the season? Does Zach Collins get more of a bump here? Does Champagny get more of a bump here in San Antonio? The answer is yes and yes if Wemby decides to just not play all of these games. They do have 4 games this week. Maybe they rest Wemby down the stretch. It's the end of the season. We know they want balls in. They've got 19 wins. They're playing for these balls down the bottom there. Like, it's very close between them, and they're tied with Charlotte. I'm sure they'd like more of a losing record to get in the bottom 3 teams. Charlotte's probably thinking the same. So it almost becomes a tank fest this week between Charlotte and San Antonio, both with 4 games. And they're both on the same percentage pretty much. They're both on 247. One's going to have to tank a little bit harder if they want bottom 3 odds. That's all I'm saying. So let's just pay attention to that one and what action we can get out of here. Other guys to look for here, we can get Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Kyle Anderson for the T-Wolves. For the Suns, let's see if anyone rests. Again, we do know they're thinking they're going to be competitive through this week with their 4 games, and we can look to stream as necessary. Bol Bol's been an option through there. Eric Gordon's getting some minutes. The Magic, which guard is going to pop off for them? The really interesting one that I find here are the Miami Heat. With Tyler Hero coming back, Duncan Robinson on wires, Homie Jaquez, Hayward Highsmith, these guys are getting minutes and burn. So this is where the Miami Heat, because the Miami Heat, interestingly enough, also have the weakest schedule of this week. So this is where we could probably look for that one. Well, they have not the weakest, but they have the best one. Of all of the teams, they play the Hawks, they play the Hawks, they play the Mavericks, but they play the Raptors twice. And the Raptors last look was the 26th ranked team, 27th ranked team in defensive rating. That is not very good. Now, granted, the Miami Heat haven't been very good either of late, but they are jostling away for playoff contention. They're just outside the 6 right now. They sit in 7th place. They won their last one, but they've just fallen out of the play-in. Like, they've fallen into the play-in tournament. The Indiana Pacers are just above them. If the Pacers stumble this week, the Heat are there to snatch it. And I'm sure they'd like to not play all those games. I'm sure we're not going to want to see Jimmy Buckets come out early. He's going to want to rest and be playoff aware. So this is where this week in the East, that borderlines, and we can look for make some tactical adds around the side there, especially looking at the Miami Heat. I don't mind them. The Grizzlies continue to be a who knows who's going to play day. Jordan Goodwin getting some minutes obviously there, but we do like Scottie Pippen Jr. for some source of assists and steals. Steals can often hang in the balance, and he's been getting them in bunches. Let's look to see who gets picked up and pulled into the squad there. The Mavericks, the Hornets. Again, the Hornets aren't going anywhere fast. The Hawks have been unleashed, and Onyeka Okongwu can make a bit of a run and get some burn there for you. In the Nuggets, Reggie Jackson. Is Jamal Murray going to rest? Are they going to play him in? If not, Reggie gets the bump. And for the Clippers, we all know resting lately, Russell Westbrook's getting a few more minutes with Kawhi Leonard being out. He's been playing reasonably well, but probably worth a stream to get you some extra rebounds and assists to help you get over there. Again, we watch our percentages with a guy like him. Trey's getting minutes. Trey's a starter there. He can get you some burn. And also, of course, Norm Powell. Norm Powell will continue to get minutes and continue to get burn here. So we just look to see what's happening. We look to see who's getting the minutes and where they come in, especially because we know that Jamal Murray is back. But for the Nugs, will he play all the time? Do they rest him? Does he get banged up and he gets sore a little bit? Oh, Reggie Jackson, you're starting today. Keep our ears out and let's watch where we can pick up these streams during the course of the week, especially with injuries and being concerns this time of the year. So I guess we should do it. Let's go through and have a look at our injury guys for the course of the week. Indeed, let's whip around the league and have a look at injuries, and nothing really going on in Atlanta. Again, we are looking to pick up guys like probably Bruno Fernando, Garrison Matthews, looking by my metrics, the only ones down there. Clint Capella has been playing well, and we're not looking for anyone else we can target during the course of the week there. They do have the 4 games, so we could be looking to get some news over the course of the week. Now, as I said, with Boston, we just want to be really careful. I know on Sunday that Tatum, Brown are all listed as questionable. They're playing the Trailblazers. So what shenanigans will they continue to roll out there this week? Cam Johnson, he's come back. He's missed Saturday's game with a sprained toe. That's flared up a little bit. And we all know that Dennis Smith Jr. has missed the last, I think, 3 or 4 games now with his hip injury. So this is where Dennis Schroeder has received that bump. Nick Richards is questionable for Sunday. He's got a foot issue. Or is it just that we really need to lose a lot more games and more than the San Antonio Spurs? It's probably a foot, or maybe a foot and mouth. He said the wrong thing about, I just want to go out there and play. And they've said, no, you can't, Nick. We should probably keep you very well rested. Over in Chicago, Alex Caruso and Kobe White are both questionable for Sunday's game versus the Magic. Whereas in Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell is doubtful for Sunday's game with the Clippers. He has not been playing well of late. And in fact, I benched him in a league today where I still have him. I'm just playing for consolidation bracket stuff with that league right now. But still, he hasn't been playing well and killing me on percentages. And it was a good rest the other day, and I managed to save it. Let's be saying he'll be in and out of the lineup for the Cavs. They only do play those 3 games this week. In Dallas, Luka and Maxi Kleber are questionable for Sunday's game, whereas Josh Green and Derek Lively both remain out. In Denver, Aaron Gordon didn't play on Saturday. He's had a foot strain. So again, what's going to happen in Denver with his foot? okay, we're going to rest Aaron a little bit down this way. We can pick up guys around the peripheral like Christian Brown around the edges there. Can we get Christian Brown in? Probably. He's been playing well. Peyton Watson can get some extra minutes and burn here. KCP, he'll always step up if he's on your waiver wire by any way, shape, or form. So let's just look for these injury outs this week. With the Nuggets, they're the defending champions. They're a pretty confident team. Now, they might want that number 1 seed, but it's a really tight race between them, the Thunder, and the T-Wolves. I'm sure at the end of the day, they're happy to play it through, but they also want to play it through with their guys healthy, and they don't want anything going wrong. The one time they didn't go well a couple of years ago, Jamal Murray was out. Crawford, wrong Jamal. So many Jamals, so little time. But this is the thing. They love their healthy team, and this is where they really, truly shine. Duran missed Saturday's game. He was the last-minute pull in Detroit with his sprained ankle. Again, Cade Cunningham continues to miss games. So we're looking for guys like Jaden Ivey down the stretch here to pick up some more of a run. And just riding that bench, and a guy, we saw the other day, like Malachi Flynn after his 50-piece, him and Sasser will continue to get minutes the way through for the Detroit Pistons. Steph Curry is going to sit out Sunday's game through rest. Of course he is, because they're playing against the Utah Jazz, and they're looking to make sure that they're fresh for the play-in tournament, because that is where they're locked into. Kuminga and Wiggins are also questionable for that one. Halliburton and Smith over in Indiana, they're questionable for Sunday's game. Both, I believe, with knee soreness. But they're just questionable for Sunday, whereas the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard is going to be there, and he will miss Sunday's game with his knee soreness, which he's been plagued with during the course of this week. Over in the Lakers land, we are looking closer this week, maybe randomly, to Gabe Vincent's return. Now he's doubtful for this game, but he's moving towards questionable. I know he's been practicing more, and they need to probably get him some reps. So look for maybe Gabe Vincent later this week, not for any way, shape, or form for a streaming option, but just to see how he fits into that Lakers lineup. And again, there is no point reporting on questionable games for AD and LeBron. They both are questionable, and it's against the T-Wolves. I'm curious to see if they both play this to try and push the tempo and make sure that they get 3 more wins on the trot before going into the play-in tournament. Or do they just rest them knowing that they're in the play-in tournament and they're okay with that? We heard AD a couple of weeks ago being like, man, what it is what it is. We'll play whoever. We'll do whatever. We know what it is. We did it last year. We got to the finals through the play-in. We don't care. Fair enough. Now, if they are questionable, it is against the T-Wolves. Let's see how that shapes out for them. In Memphis, we've got half their team didn't play on Saturday against the 76ers. Jaren Jackson Jr., Kennard, John Conchar didn't play. Jake LaRavia missed that one. Again, they'll be in, they'll be out during the course of the week. So let's just stay tuned for updates and who gets those minutes. Guys like Gigi Jackson stepping up there, Scottie Pippen Jr., as we said before, getting minutes. Now, in Milwaukee, as I said, nothing is all is good over in Miami. But in Milwaukee, let's just keep our eyes on Giannis. Now, he is questionable for Sunday's game against the Knicks with a hamstring strain. That hamstring has been bugging him a little bit. And again, because they're locked into that place in the East, I'm not sure that they push the tempo with Giannis going into the playoffs this year. He could miss a couple of games. And this is where guys like Bobby Portis, especially if he's on your wire, and he's probably not. If you're in a 10-man league, there's a shot. But we look to grab him. We look to get Jay Crowder even in these kind of games where he misses. We look for Pat Bev, who brings that big game energy, especially when guys like Dame Lillard can miss a game later on this week. So again, look for updates for them closer to it. Minnesota, all is flying well over there. When, as I said, in New Orleans, Brandon Ingram is going to miss the next couple of games. We could look forward to a BI return later this week. However, Zion Williamson, Najee, and Jose Alvarado are all questionable for Sunday's game up against Phoenix. OKC, Shea, SGA, the guy's still out on Sunday. Look for him hopefully back later this week just to get a bit of a workout in with the team before they go on their playoff run, whereas Jalen Williams and Gordon Hayward are also questionable for that one. Over in Orlando, Houston is questionable for Sunday's game, and in Philly, Tobias Harris continues to miss games with a knee contusion, and Mo Bamba has missed the last 3 games there through illness. So hopefully he'll be back soon with that sickness and getting better soon. Phoenix, It is all good and small sailing. They have hit good form at the right time of year, and they are poised to make a really deep playoff run, liking what I'm seeing out of the Suns lately as well. In Portland, Brogdon, Shaden Sharp, Anthony Simons, and Matisse Thybulle, of course, they are all out. And no surprises here. Jeremy Grant is listed as doubtful again, whereas Baji is also questionable, but just good to see them going doubtful for Jeremy Grant every single fucking game. In Sacramento, look, we know Malik Monk is done for the rest of this regular season, and Kevin Huerter as well. Keon Ellis continuing to get burned there, increased minutes for Keegan Murray, and Trey Lyles getting some additional backup to rest a bonus where possible. He could be a good pull-in into your leagues and your teams if you're looking for some points and rebounds during the course of the week. Chetty Osman is out for Sunday's game with an ankle injury, and we know that Devin Vassell has been ruled out for the rest of this season. On that one again, let's just keep our eyes on Wemby this week and their team just to see who rests and who plays. We know that they're going for ping pong balls at this point in time, so it is curious to see Zach Collins in this one and Champagne continue to get some additional minutes for these guys. And Keldon Johnson, God forbid he is on your waiver wire, you pick him up and give him a little bit of extra burn as well. Bruce Brown and Gary Trent are both questionable in Toronto for Sunday's game. The rest of the team is looking fine. Grady Dick continues to be a stream option for these guys, whereas in Utah, we know Larry Markkinen has been ruled out for the rest of the season, re-aggravating that shoulder injury that he wore into the course of it, whereas Walker Kessler and John Collins are also out on Sunday against the Warriors for that one, and Chris Dunn is questionable with a foot issue. He can continue to be a stream option, a nice little source of assists and steals during the course of this week if need be. And rounding it out in Washington, Rashawn Holmes and Kyle Kuzma are questionable for Sunday's game against the Raptors. A tale of a couple teams not playing their finest basketball as of late, but again, it is the Washington Wizards, and who knows what's going to happen on that one there. Guys, that's it for us. Again, let's rip through the schedule really, really quickly before we get out of here, because again, it is going to be helter freaking skelter. We're looking at no games to kick off the week. Pause, take a breath, look at your stock and trade, see where you're going, and attack from Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday, as we said, there are no back-to-backs. You're looking for that low volume games back-to-back. No one plays on them. It's not there. It just doesn't exist. So we can't look to do anything there, but we can look to bring independently good streams in on the Wednesday and on the Thursday. So this is where we can make our streams a little bit stronger and then get those additional assets where we need. Look who's being rested. The big tip here is which team superstars will rest for those last couple of games or one game. Now, the big superstars we know, they're going to bring us numbers in spades. They might be worth holding on to for that first one. But cut and burn and save a couple of ads just in case you need them for those guys if you hear they're not going to play the last game of the regular season. It happens absolutely all the time. And if you're saving it, especially in a daily head-to-head league, the best advice I can give you is just wait. Just wait to see who's going to be pulled on that one, because you don't need to. Every single team in the NBA is playing. You don't have a real need to stream on those days where all 30 teams are playing. And that's how the week closes out. But you will have a need to stream if one of your superstars, if one of your early round players is going to be rested and right for the playoffs. So that's where we're looking to really pull in these ones. Again, Wednesday and Thursday, they're the low volume days. Target as you need here, but no team playing the back-to-back means you can be really flexible, get a little bit creative with your ads, and really attack the cats you need to get yourself a championship and finish off your fantasy season strong. Make sure you like and subscribe to All Things Insight and get part of our Discord Unlimited channel as well. We're bringing you NRL, AFL, NBA, NBL, and BBL over the course of the year. We've got 2K stuff in there. It's huge. It's going off. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. Set your notifications on when you